Listen up, this one's different. We've got a real Bermondsey boy in the building, Eddie Webber. From the streets of South London to the big screen, from the business to Rise of the Footsoldier. But this ain't some fairy tale story. This is a man who was wrongly accused of murder, ended up in prison, and could have very easily gone down a very different path. Because where he's from, that's usually how it goes. One mistake, one label, and that's your life. But Eddie made a choice. Instead of becoming a full-time criminal, he's turned his life around and stepped into acting. And trust me, the journey ain't been pretty. We get into the real side of it, South London life, the system, what prison does to a man, and how close he came to never getting out of that world. But what makes this one special is Eddie himself. Because alongside all the madness, he's funny, he's sharp, and he tells it exactly how it is. No filter, no script, no pretending, just a real story from a real guy who's lived it. This one's got a little bit of everything. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, and today we've got a legend of TV and film. He's been doing it for decades. You'll know him because you've seen him in some proper films. But he's actually a proper fella from Bermondsey. He's an unsung hero. Please put your hands together for Mr. Eddie Webber! How you doing, Eddie?
All right, Tol. Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, all good, mate.
I'm loving the look today. You do. When you walked in, I was like, this guy's fucking got style. He's got class. He's got it all going on.
Yeah, mate, it's all moody, mate. It's just like Soho Scarves sends me a scarf, and 80s Casual Classics send me the bit of clobber. So
right, so you got.
I can't help but sort of look okay, really. You know what I mean?
Amazing, amazing. Well, obviously we've been in a couple of movies together, and obviously I've known about you for many years. I mean, you've been in some great movies. But I think for all of the viewers, the listeners of the Criminal Connection podcast, they probably like to know who is the real Eddie Webber.
Yeah, of course. So, I'd like to know that as well, to tell the truth.
So it'd be great to just sort of go back to sort of, where you was born, where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up in Bermondsey, South East London, in the 60s, 1960, whatever, when I was born.
Right.
Proper sort of comprehensive London. No one had no money. Everyone was doing whatever they had to do to sort of get by. Went to school in Bermondsey, both schools, St Michael's, St Joseph's. And that's it, really. And grew up in the 70s, but it was just a really... It was old school that people these days, the young kids these days, couldn't even understand it, really.
They probably wouldn't be able to cope, would they?
Well, I don't know about... I don't think they would be able to cope, Tel, because I said to my kids, they can never, ever experience what we've experienced through them eras, like with the music, with the films, with everything that went on with all that sort of stuff. And so I come from an area that was sort of quite crime-ridden as well,
A hotbed of criminality.
Yeah, a hotbed of criminality, really. Sort of, all the train robbers and the bullion robbers all come out of that sort of area, sort of thing. So you didn't have really... You either went to work or you went the other way, really.
So when you was at school, did they say to you, you've got two career choices, you can be a bank robber or a gold robber?
Well, no. Funnily enough, I remember a careers interview that I went to, because I always liked a bit of art.
Right.
And a bit of that side of it, really. But in 1970s, sort of South East London, Bermondsey, it wasn't sort of the dumb thing to do, you know what I mean? If you went up to your mum and dad or something and said, look, I want to be an actor, I want to look at you like you're old man, mild man,
right,
rather than I am, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And I was, I remember at 16, because I left school without no exams, nothing whatsoever, because I felt insulted.
Right.
Also a bit dyslexic, which wasn't...
Well, nobody even knew what it was then, did they? Yeah.
Correct. So I couldn't really take the information in, but I knew that I wanted to be sort of creative, I suppose that's part of being on the spectrum and doing that dyslexia sort of thing. And I remember at 16, you used to have these career.
Is that how you introduce yourself now? Hi, I'm Eddie. I'm on the spectrum.
I'm on the spectrum, yeah. I mean, it's quite a fun thing to realise, actually, you know.
Do you know what, though? I think a lot of the people from, like we said about growing up in the 70s and the 80s, or like 60s and 70s, I think everybody was kind of a little bit on the spectrum because obviously everybody didn't know about mental health, and nobody knew about dyslexia or any of these things, you know. And I think, you know, I don't know what it was like growing up in South East London at that time, but where I grew up, it was literally like.
Where'd you grow up, Tom?
I was South London originally, and I moved out, and I really sort of, when I was sort of 6 years of age, we moved out of London. I ended up being in Bracknell in Berkshire.
Gotcha.
And then I went to Camberley in Surrey. So I was over that sort of way, but we was on council estates, but the schools were just like, you know, normal state schools. And, you know, everybody got terrorised.
Yeah.
Right? There was no sort of, if you were skinny, you was like skinny. If you was fat, you was fat. If you was the wrong colour or you was the wrong sex, or you was a bit camp, or you know, if you was rich, if you was poor, it didn't matter who you was, what your beliefs were, you were getting it. You know what I mean? And everybody got it, and it was all dished out in equal measures, you know. But I think for me, when I look back on it, I always think it made everybody resilient, because if you are used to being brought up in that environment, when somebody says something to you in real life, when you leave school, you don't break down into tears or say, oh my God, I'm so hurt. You just take it on the chin and go, fuck off, and just move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I know where you, because I live near where you live for quite a lot, because I lived in Spain for 7 years, and when I come back, I went to Frensham, you know,
Right.
Frensham
Yeah,
Ponds.
Farnham Way. Yeah. Lovely over there.
It's beautiful, really, really beautiful. But I understand what you're saying about Bracknell and all that sort of stuff. But where I was, it was such a community that the little firm that we had round us growing up, sort of thing, didn't really have to experience that bullying sort of stuff that was going on, because you sort of generate towards a certain.
So they become your family essentially. So that's
Yeah, and people didn't take liberties with the sort of people that I grew up with, sort of thing, you know. I think them people that I grew up with sort of took liberties with, they're the people that were on the other end of the thing, you know. But it wasn't an issue, because we just all grew up together, you know. We just all went to school together.
That was a normality, wasn't it?
It was a normality. Like I said to you, you either sort of go down that road in them places, or you go down that road in them places, or you take the road in between. You know, you either. Roger Daltrey says it beautiful in that film at Vicar. You become a hero or a villain, or you take the road in between, sort of thing. You know, and so there were your choices, really. But heroes were out of the choices,
Right?
Because to us, the heroes was film stars and pop stars, Mark Bolan and all and De Niro, and you had no chance of touching that sort of side of life, you know.
I think you're underselling yourself here, Eddie. I thought you was the fucking Bermondsey De Niro. Come on.
Yeah, fucking De Niro. Sin De Niro.
But you know.
But what I was saying before, sorry, Tal, I remember the careers officer, and I'm not saying this to be pretentious in any way or nothing like that. I sat down with his careers officer, and he put a list of jobs out in front of me. And it was like forklift driver, bricklayer, plumber. And I didn't want to be any of them things. And I actually said to him, I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a criminal, right? And I jumped over the fence that fucking day, and I never went back to school again.
Right.
Sort of 4 or 5 prison sentences later, Tell, you know what I mean? I got the message. I should have been a forklift driver, sort of thing. So, yeah, that was, you know, which ties into what you were saying about the career sort of side of it.
But that's one of the things that I was just going to mention. Obviously, when you're on a council estate, or whether you're on a deprived part of London, right? And like you said, you're looking at these people and you're going, wow, you know, if I wanted to be a hero, you know, I'd be a businessman, or I'd be an actor, or I'd be whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is nobody tells you can do that.
Correct.
So you think, well, I can only go and get a job as a fucking plumber, a dustman, a forklift driver, or work in an office, or work in a shop, or be a fucking criminal.
My
right?
dad was a thief, right? That's what I grew up around thievery all the time. You know, my house was full of hooky gear.
I fucking wish I'd have known you then.
No.
I bet you could have sorted me out with some nice feeler tops.
No, but you know, not out of you know. I think he was doing the things that he was doing out of necessity. He had 4 kids.
You got to feed everyone,
You
right?
know, and the 4 kids growing up in them days were, you know, it's an expensive thing. We know now if you got 1 kid, let alone 4 kids when you got none. So it become a sort of necessity sort of thing. It wasn't like I'm a top criminal or anything. It was the way of life.
And what was, when you say thieving, was it to order, or was it whatever he could get his hands on?
Whatever he could get his hands on, it started off, I remember when I was a young boy, he was a docker. My dad, he worked in the Surrey docks.
And I bet loads of things fell off them boats, didn't they?
Mate, I walked into my kitchen, mate, and the room was just full of sides of lamb, you know what I mean? Where they've just... But the thing they used to do, and I know it sounds all romantic and things like that, but they used to cut it all up, take what they needed and give the rest away to the people.
On the estate?
There was no waste, really. You can only have as much as you wanted, that you needed. And then, you know, so it was a nice community, Bermondsey, where I was growing up. And
I think doing things like that, you know, I suppose the thinking behind that is you look after everybody, and then, you know, they have a touch, they look after you back. Do you know what I mean?
It was always like that, Tel. You know, it was a beautiful place. I mean, it's got a bit of a bad reputation by people that don't know the place.
Got it.
Do you understand what I mean? It's because, you know, people like, as I mentioned before, the little firms that were doing all the big robberies and all that. It was known as a villainous place. But these people were the nicest people you can ever imagine to meet. You know, and they were beautiful, generous, nice people, wouldn't hurt people, wouldn't do nothing. They just like robbing banks and trains and things, you know. That was their thing. But again, that was out of necessity.
So who were the famous robbers that were around that time? Was Bruce Reynolds down
Bruce
that way?
Reynolds, Buster Edwards, all that little
Because
firm.
Buster had the flower stall, didn't he? And,
Waterloo, yeah.
And did you ever meet Bruce's boy, Nick?
I've run into him a couple of times, yeah.
Because I met him, I met Bruce years ago at I think it was Joe Pole had a boxing thing, and Bruce was there, and he was with his boy, and he said, oh, this is my son, Nick. And I got chatting to him, and he was obviously telling me about his art, and he did this Cons to Icons exhibition. I don't know if you saw it. And he cast the busts of different people. So he had like Roy Shaw, Joe Pole.
Oh, yes.
I think Dave Courtney, Tony Lambriano.
Yeah.
He did me because I was doing all the clubs and that. And it was all these like, you know, I wasn't in obviously the cons bit because I was always on the other side where I was just doing things properly, right? But he did me and it was mad because they put this thing over your face and you put 2 straws up your nose. But then you get your own little bust. So it was, and I think he did. I think he did a couple of famous people.
Done your old Bill as well, didn't he?
What was that? Yeah, no, he did. So I wonder what he was on about then. Yeah, no, he did. And I've got it on the side by my bed. But I don't know, I've not spoken it for a while, but obviously Bruce is no longer with us, RIP, but he was always every time I see him, I always thought he looked like an accountant. He was always very smartly dressed, glasses. He was like a gentleman, you know?
All that lot was like our heroes, you know? Not that they wanted to be our heroes and anything, because they all used to drink in a pub called the Southwark Park Tavern, and it was just sort of across the road from the flats that we lived in. A guy called Billy Tarrant owned it. Like, nice fella, really nice fella, but they all used to sort of congregate into there. So as young kids, we used to sit outside and see them all pulling up in their Rolls Royces and their sports cars and everything. It was, you know, it was a little bit of movie magic there and then sort of thing with these people. But
was it, if you was around there though, Eddie, as a young kid growing up, did they regale you with their stories, or did people just know?
The people knew, you know, who they were, you know, they were sort of bank robbers, you know. It was just like, I think the intricate side of it was that the insular like the people who live around the areas and all that knew more than the people that didn't live in the area, sort of thing. But it was.
So if you was in the Bermondsey club, you knew. If you weren't, you
it's
didn't.
not so much that as well. It was just like, it wasn't an issue. These people were just. It was just, everyone was just there, you know. Everyone who mingled with them were friends of your dads and friends of your uncles and friends of this. And, oh, you're his boy. Oh, you're his boy. You're his boy. You know. So it was a beautiful time, you know, growing up in the late 60s and the 70s in the place that I grew up with. The community feeling was just stunning until that Thatcher come along and just busted it all to pieces, you know.
Right. What did she? Because I thought she where she gave people the right to buy their own places. I thought that sort of turned the working class, and they all sort of were grateful for that.
It was a tractor, wasn't it, really, when you think about it? Because straight away the social housing gets taken out of the picture. Because what they used to do years ago, you used to get a flat when a young couple, they'd have a baby, they'll move to that flat, someone else will go in that flat, and then they'll go in that flat, and someone else will go in that flat.
Right.
So when she give all these people the rights to buy the social housing thing, it stopped there. The chain was broke.
Right.
So there's all these people wanting flats, but it don't go past that one. Or it don't go past that one. And what they didn't realise as well, because I was living in a beautiful, beautiful little place, council place, and I got offered, they offered me to buy it. I think it was about 18 grand or something. Right. You know, my bedroom window was looking down at Tower Bridge.
Imagine how much that'd be now. It'd be millions.
Unbelievable. Millions. Unbelievable. And I had the money to pay it.
Do you have that buyer's remorse? We should have bought that.
No, I don't, because the trap was really in them days, what they didn't realise, you buy your own property, your own flats and all that, then all of a sudden they want to do a facelift on the flats, which comes to 100 grand or 200 grand or 300 grand. So all the people that have bought their property, they have to pay for that maintenance. So all of a sudden they're getting bills for 40 grand and 50 grand and they can't pay it. Because they think, oh, wow, we've nicked our flat for 18 grand, that's doable. But then the maintenance, but the lift breaks down. Every time the lift breaks down and they fix the lift, they've got to pay for that. Right. So they ended up nicking the flats back off them anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought when you lived in a flat, you just paid a service charge, no?
Well, it was you know, if you, I don't know how it worked in them days, but I think that was what was happening. People used to get stung with the maintenance sort of side of it, you know.
Obviously, if they start replacing all the outside windows...
This is before it was politically correct to do all these things, you know, and it become a business. It was the council doing it, you know. It wasn't like these private things. Getting a flat now was completely different to getting a flat then, sort of thing, so. And that's what she done, Thatcher. She just sort of broke up the whole community side of it and made rich people rich and poor people sort of poorer.
So you're not a fan of Margaret Thatcher then?
I'm not a fan of the Tories at all, you know, or politics really. Right. It's just like, you know, apart from old school, the Labour Party of when I grew up, when my dad was a docker and when they used to look after the workers properly. It's like the trade unions with all these people that have a pop at the trade unions these days. You know, we've got a strike here and a strike there, and they get the ump about it. The trade unions were brought together because years ago in the docks, they'd go and line up at the gate, and there might only be 4 or 5 jobs, but there'd be 20 people wanting to work. So what they would do, the ganger would come out and start auctioning the job. So say it was like, for instance, a £5 an hour. So we got a job here for a £5 an hour. Someone say, I'll do it for £4.50. Another one will do it, say, I'll do it for £3. Another one, I'll do it for £2.50, to the point of where you're doing a job where you can't, it don't pay you to do it. So the trade unions come about to stop that, to work for the worker sort of thing. It's like the trains. They've got a strong trade union now, you know. They're not doing it to mess up people's lives or nothing. They're doing it to protect their workers.
Thing is, though, I think with the trains as an example, I think they are messing up people's lives. I mean, I've spoken to quite a lot of people who obviously rely on a train to get around London or to get into London.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, every time there's a strike, I don't come into London, right?
Well, tell the government to pay the money.
But they're getting paid a load of money.
Well, it's not enough in inflation,
Well, look,
is it?
if I wouldn't mind getting paid, I think some get paid like 68 grand a year to drive a train. It's a lot of fucking money, right?
It's a lot of work as well, Tel.
Yeah, but genuinely, I'm not saying anything bad about train drivers or anyone who works for the railway companies, right? Because if they want to strike, that's up to them. But all I'm saying is, like, by them doing that, it means people don't come into London, and then that means that the people that are really suffering, the government don't really give a fuck, right?
Of course they
It
don't.
doesn't hurt them, but what it does hurts all the small businesses. It hurts all, because if I come into London, I might grab a coffee, I might have lunch, I might walk past a shop and buy something, and obviously if I've been into London some days when I've had to come in and I've had to drive in, and obviously the roads are fucking gridlocked because everyone's driving in. But then when you actually get into somewhere like the city or Mayfair, there's no one there but there is people there having meetings, but there is no like massive traffic. So
that's the price you pay, man, for fairness. Some people will go and work 8-9 hours a day for £6 a day. So the other side of that is they're being exploited, which is the other side of what you're saying. These people who work in places for £6 an hour or whatever for 8 hours a day, and there's a lot of people doing that.
Not anymore. I think it's £10 something an hour minimum wage. But genuinely, I look at it from a fairness perspective, and I think that when anybody goes on strike, right, it doesn't really affect the government. It affects everybody, and for me, it's like with all that Just Stop All stuff where people are gluing themselves to the roads.
That's a different
thing. But what I'm saying is they're protesting, so it's the same thing, right? But instead of them striking, they're protesting because they don't want people to put oil in their cars or whatever, right? But if you have been affected by that, like, your wife's pregnant and she needs to get to the hospital and she can't because some idiot glued themselves to the road, you're not going to go, I sympathise with your cause. You're just going to get fucking angry. And I think what these strikes are doing, and I'm talking about all the strikes, and there's been loads, it's not just been the train people, but all it does is it just upsets people. And the thing is, it's like there's got to be a way of them doing something to make the government pay attention so they can get what they want. But I think what they're doing is they're sort of, I don't know anybody that has to come into London for work that is happy about the people striking on the trains because they look at it like they're being inconvenienced, where if they want to get the message to the government, I don't know how they do it, but I think there's got to be a way that they can do something to the government so that the government actually go, do you know what? You're right. Let's make this right so that they're happy and they don't strike. But the thing is, at the moment, the only people really that's feeling it are the small business owners and people who've got business in London.
Yeah, well,
and up and down the country, and I feel sorry for them because it's not their fucking fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You if you've got a little corner shop and you rely on people coming in buying sweets and crisps and fucking birthday cards.
But you can't let these people get, at the end of the day, you can't let these governments, once you know yourself, you're a businessman, mate. If you give you an inch, you take a mile. And that's exactly what it's all about. We've got to protect someone. We've got to have some sort of protection for these people for taking the mile, when you give an inch.
Do you think there's a better way of them doing it, though? Do you think there's a way?
I don't know, I'm not, I just kill me.
It don't affect us, but
it affects us.
I always look at things from an outsider's perspective, and I just think, if you want something that you're not getting, right, it's about how do you make that message heard, right, to get what you want. But I think if you go about the wrong way, then people don't support you. And really, what you want, if you had the whole country going, we need to support these people, whoever they are that are on strike, the government will then listen. But at the moment, they're doing that, but then the people aren't getting behind them. And it's fucking hard. It's so tricky.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and I don't know enough.
All I want, Eddie, is world peace.
Listen, I don't know enough to articulate it all, really. Right. It's just my, I was brought up in a socialist environment sort of thing, and I just know that working people need to be protected, really, at the end of the day.
And I think when you grew up on a council estate or in a working class, the Labour government I think they've always Well, I don't know if they are now. I think they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah,
but,
all the
but,
same,
But the
yeah.
Labour government traditionally were for the working classes, and the Tories were always for the middle class or the rich. You know, that was the
It's got confused now.
Yeah.
No one. It don't start and it don't end. It just all intersects into each other. But anyway, that's that. Get on with that.
Yeah. But
Load of old bollocks.
yeah, it is all bollocks.
At the end of the day, mate. Just got to fucking get on with life, haven't you? Really. You don't get this in India and places like that where you go to. I know there's caste systems and all that, but people just fucking get on with it, you know. The government bullshit the people accept the bullshit and just get on with life, sort of thing.
So when you was because you was in India recently, weren't you?
I've been going to India for a good few years now,
Yeah, that's a place I've never been. I've always wanted to go there. I've heard it's a great place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place if you've got the right sort of mentality for India. I mean, there's I like going travelling around India, you know. I like going visiting sort of ashrams and like sacred mountains and things like that. But I also like the party sort of environment. So I think, I don't know how you are, Tel, whether you like the dirt and the grit of countries or whatever.
Do you know what? I've never been, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do like travelling. I do like going to different places.
Yeah.
I've had a few friends that have gone and done similar things where they've gone to India. They've gone to see, obviously, the tourist sites. Yeah. But then they've actually gone into the, into the places that the capitals are basically. Yeah. And I think one of my friends did the tour and then he ended up going to Goa.
Goa's beautiful.
And that was more of like a beachy holiday.
That's what I was just going to say to you. If you're going to go to India, ever, go to Goa. Base yourself in the south of Goa. And the north of Goa is beautiful as well. But it's like paradise. It's probably like a paradise.
Is it? Because a lot of people say India like is a really cheap place to is it?
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. When I go out there, I stay in this gap. Beautiful, nice living area, kitchen, bedroom, in the grounds of all these beautiful, like a jungle, swimming pool, aircon, sky, 15 quid a night. You just...
Sign me up, baby.
Honestly, anytime you want to go out there, tell me. I've got these places out there that are just absolutely beautiful. But I like India, Tel, because I sort of tend to lean towards that sort of philosophical aspect of what they feel out there, I don't believe in God, this Christian stuff and all that. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this sort of stuff and all that, but...
Oh, you're allowed to have your opinion, mate, what you believe.
Yeah, I think it's... I don't really want to talk about it because I get quite vehement. I don't like them. You know what I mean? These Western external forces that people fall on their knees and expect to have their prayers answered to, and they never answer their prayers and they still fall on their knees, sort of thing. So until we accept that it's an internal thing rather than an external thing.
Are you honestly telling me that you've never prayed and got what you prayed for? You must have done.
I can't remember the last time I've prayed. School, I suppose. I think.
Shall we pray now, Eddie?
I prayed and I got so maybe. No, I don't think I have, because I think the difference between this sort of praying stuff and focus are two different things. I think it's like you yourself. With what I know about you, it's quite easy for you to fall on your knees and say, God, let me be a great big club promoter and let me make films, let me make that.
That's what I did, and look what I'm doing.
Is it prayers or is it the focus that you need? When I watched Roland's podcast there the other day, and you said to him, what do you need to do? What advice do you give to anyone who wants to get involved in this game? And it's passion, isn't it, really? It's got nothing to do with external deities or divine interventions. It's the passion that you've got to do whatever you want to do. If you're depending on that sort of stuff to get you through it, and you believe that is the thing that's getting you through it, then you're in for a lot of misery in life. So,
do you think? And I did have this. I've had this conversation with quite a few actors, but obviously, when you're actually doing work, do you feel like it's a spiritual thing because I think there is an exchange of energies and there is that thing where, you know, there's like a flow. I don't know if you...
It's a madness, really, when you think about it, because if you understand what consciousness is, the duality of humanness, which is like the physical ego side of our physical bodies, and then we've got to believe if there's a duality, there's a consciousness, which is almost like a camera in itself.
Right.
So it's a seer looking out into this movie of what we're doing now.
Right.
Me and you are doing a movie, you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's not permanent.
Yeah.
Because once me and you finish this, we go, and it's
this is going to be permanent, mate. This is on YouTube forever. In 1,000 years' time, people will be watching us going, look at them two fucking...
So when you're acting, you're creating a world, right? Outside of the physical world that you're living in. It's like when you go asleep and you dream. If you go asleep and you dream, your physical body has got no relevance at all to that dream. Your arms and legs are doing things in that dream, and you're in bed with your arms and legs useless. You're dead, in fact.
I'm normally doing like front flips, back
I'm getting
flips,
too serious
wheel
now,
spins.
like.
No, I'm doing like spin on my head.
Yeah.
You know, I'm flying through the air like Superman. What do you do in your dreams?
But to get back to that, what you said about the acting question, to answer your question, if we look at the camera that is creating that acting job, that the film, the Footsoldier 6 million sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a 6 million. That's a 6 million film. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
Are you coming back?
And you're looking at that. It's the same sort of thing. You're quite fortunate, and I'm quite fortunate if we put it together to understand that make-believe world is being looked upon by a camera, which we can look at as being consciousness, which take that all away. And the film we're in now, there's a camera somewhere looking at us recording all this film, which is consciousness. So that's what I believe, really, Tom.
I'm saying, and what with your dreams, what do you dream about? Do you do front flips, back flips? What are you?
I've been having mad dreams, mate. I've been fucking dreaming a lot about my dead dad at the moment.
Really?
It's really weird, you know. I've never had a relationship with my dad, and it's like I started dreaming with these really, really mad dreams. So I'd like to do the backflips and somersaults and all that, flying over buildings. I might get up like that at the moment. What the old pals like want to do karate at me and all that, and I'm like, where's that going? Something's happened. There's been a shift.
I do think sometimes you do have like the maddest fucking dreams.
Mad
and you
dreams,
wake up
mate.
and you go and sometimes like I've woken up and I'm still think I'm fucking doing something, and it's just bizarre.
I know it's crazy, but it's a different. That state of dreaming is another existence in itself, sort of thing. The Hindus believe, you know, you've got a waking state, you've got a dream state, and a sleeping state. They're three different relevant states of consciousness, sort of thing. So yeah, it probably does all mean something, you know.
We just got to work it out somehow.
You ain't got to work it out. You just got to remember it.
Right.
It's always there. You just got to remember it, really.
Yeah. And obviously, you sort of said, you know, going back to obviously your dad being, you know, a thief and obviously putting money on the table. And obviously, you left school, obviously with that view, fuck it, I'm going to become a criminal. What was the sort of stuff you sort of dabbled in when you left school? Was it just following your father's footsteps, or did you get wrapped up with...
Yeah, we used to sort of do jump-ups of the lorries, you know, take boxes of the lorries and sell them. And
was that taking the whole cargo or just nicking a couple?
Sometimes the whole cargo, yeah, sometimes the whole cargo. And but just creeping, you know, it wasn't a nice thing to do, really, right. You know. But like as I said, it was... we used to fight a lot as well, you know, just sort of that waste of time.
Did that make you get in? Did you go into boxing or anything like that, or was it just street fighting?
Well, it's just fighting with gangs, you know, just little Elephant and Castle, Walworth Road, and just all these little... And people that are looking at this don't know, they'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. There was really big borders around, you know. You had Bermondsey, you had Walworth Road, you had Deptford, Peckham,
right,
and they were all little independent, and no one ever crossed over the lines, really. It was a strange.
Who was the artist out of all them places when you used to like come up against them? Was the Elephant and Castle Boys?
I don't know if there was really that. It was just kids fighting, really. So I don't know who's hard.
It was fisticuffs then, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it started getting a little bit mad after someone does something to someone, as you know. Then they want to better that one, and then people were getting killed. Then people were getting stabbed and shot and just all that thing. But that's how it was in them days.
Yeah,
it was all new,
right?
Because that Charlie come about. Once people started getting involved in all that sort of thing, people's minds got fucked up, and anything went then. Absolutely anything. So yeah, no, it was a Wild West.
And you're going through all this stuff. Did you actually end up getting nicked or going to jail or anything, or was?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I did. Yeah, for a couple of little. The first bit of prison that I got was for assaulting the police.
Right.
Like having, I hit a cozzo and I got 3 months for that, and then I got caught with some bits and pieces from. I hate talking like this, really. Right. I mean, I've got a book out at the moment, so I've written all this down in the book.
But it's good to share it, and you be able to tell them everything, and then people buy the book. Eddie, what's the book called?
Yeah, it's called I Diddledy Dee. It's on
I
Amazon.
Diddledy Dee.
Yeah,
An actor's life
for
me.
Yeah, it's selling well as it happens.
Amazing.
But it's look what happened in 1986. I was in bed one morning, and there was this bang on the door. I mean, I had 2 brothers that were doing large prison sentences, really like extreme prison sentences. And it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and there was a knock at the door. And I got up and I thought, there's only 2 sorts of people that knock at the door at this time in the morning.
The police and the Normans.
And your bird, your bird, when you ain't got a key
right.
or
I thought you'd say the Normans or
whatever.
whatever.
Or the Normans, whatever. And I had one of them little spy holes in the door. But this story leads on to how I got involved in sort of working with you and working with acting and getting involved in acting sort of thing. And I looked, and it was just these fucking sniper rifles pointed at the door, demanding to come in. Open the door, open the fucking door, please, open the door, open the door. And I opened the door, and they flew in. And it was the murder squad and the Sweeney, right? They, cut a long story short, they nicked me for a murder that happened. A bouncer got shot in a pub. They nicked me for that. A security guard got shot 3 times in the leg on an armed robbery. They nicked me for that. And another geezer got shot in a bar, and they nicked me for that, right? So I've got...
That's a lot of bird, right? Fucking hell.
Mate, I'm innocent. I ain't done fuck all, This is madness. And after the police station, all the interviews and all that, where was you, so-and-so, 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 and the third of them, I don't know where I was. Where was you, a year ago? I don't know when I was on the 4th of October. Like, I said, did you go to so-and-so, 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 come up, pull up on the back of a motorbike and shoot so-and-so, so-and-so dead? No, I never. Where was you, so-and-so, 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 and did you go on an armed robbery and shoot this security guard 3 times in the leg? No. Would you like to stand on ID for it? Yes. Where was you, so-and-so, shot this guy? Would you like to stand on ID for it? Yes, I'd love to stand on an ID for it because I ain't done nothing. I've not done anything. I've gone up on the ID. First ID I had was for the murder. So there was 3 witnesses. I mean, the geezer who owned the boozer. And I used to drink in this pub as well. Right? I've been nicked for killing the fucking...
I can imagine if he just thought it was you. He went, I recognise him.
Well, no, of course they're not going to do that. But he's gone down the ID, didn't pick no one out. Another witness come in, didn't pick no one out. Another witness come in, this is for the murder, didn't pick no one out. I've looked at my brief's looked at me and gone, sweet. Next thing, I'm on ID for the attempted murder and the armed robbery. So they've got 3 security guards to come on the ID. Door opened, security guard come in, walked up and down the line, stopped at me and said, it's him. Right? Pick me. Looked at the lawyer and went, he went, no, sweet, he's one. He's just one. Second one come in, just had 338s in the leg, limped up to me and went, that's the bastard that shot me, right? Picked me out. Third one come in and picked me out again. So I've got 3 positive IDs in a lineup for armed robbery and attempted murder. I can't. Only chance of a bit of battle. Go on, mate. The third one that I had to go on ID, the witnesses couldn't turn up, so that had to happen on a later date. So I'm there, I'm straight in the van. Next day, magistrate's court, boom, scrubs. I'm in the scrubs for this attempted murder and armed robbery. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. This is why it's good for people to read the book, really, because me talking to you about it, I'm paraphrasing it.
Right.
But 3 months later, I'm A category, right? They've put me on the book now. I'm maximum security now. I've done nothing. I've done nothing at all. And I've still got another lineup to do. A club at Chelsea where I've been nicked for shooting a geezer 3 times, sort of thing. Anyway, that lineup come up, and you'll have to read the book to hear the rest of the story. At the end of it all, after 4 months, an alibi come up. Right, I've been through the third ID, which was fun and games in itself when I went to the police station. The liberties they tried to take me with the lineups and the ID parades was just.
Was it every time someone walked by, she went,
oh, no. He's gone out to pick me ID up. I've gone down to the landing. There's all punk rockers with purple hair. And I'm just like... So we refused the 2 options of identification. The first option, which is the lineup. The second option, which is they put you in a room with the witnesses. And the third option, which is a confrontation, which they put you in front of a cell. And it's not like one of these 11 men is our suspect. This is our suspect. Is it him? Sort of thing, you know. And it's just a scary, scary thing when you've already been nicked and you've got that bit of evidence against you.
right.
One more bit of evidence that goes with you is a cooperation, you know what I mean? Because what they had 3 bullets, but they didn't have no gun. All the bullets matched to each bit of work.
Right.
So they've got no gun now, so they've got no forensics. To me, it's a lay down, know.
So where did you hide the gun, Eddie?
I know. Mad it was. Absolutely mad. But the story
It's not under your hat, is it? You haven't got it under your hat.
But the story is...
No, he's not got it under his hat. There you go.
The story is when the alibi come up, I mean, it was the maddest thing you can ever... The old Bill's got to let me go now, but they've fabricated evidence against me. They've got 3 people to pick me out on an identification parade where they're positively sort of sure it was me, and I was 150 miles away at the time. Proven. I was on the Isle of Wight, signing into a prison, visiting someone at the time this robbery was going on in the city.
Thank God.
Thank God. And the way the alibi come up, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe how this alibi come up. Look at the book, right? You wouldn't believe it. So after that, I come out and I've got the murder squad and I've got the Sweeney. I've got 100% case against the 2 of them for nicking me. The robbery squad and the murder squad, 2 DIs from these who fitted me up. Fit up bastards, mate. You know, they're scum of the earth, these people. And I've got another DI from an internal investigation squad investigating these 2 DIs from the top echelons of the police things. Someone sent me a book called The Brotherhood.
Right.
Right? And it was the first expose of Freemasonry. Right? The first one, and they highlighted a chapter in the book for me called The Police, and I read it. And it started describing how important it was in them days for a police officer, if he wants to go higher up in his career, he had to become a Freemason. Yeah? But as we all know, we've got Freemasons in the cops and Freemasons in the robbers. We've got them all doing all sorts of deals with each other sort of thing. So I've got a DI investigating 2 more DIs. So to me, they're all Freemasons. Right? They're all Freemasons. And the state of mind that I was in at the time was just, I was expecting them to come and do me. Because I'm nicking the top fucking echelons of the of the police.
I mean, the scary thing is if you actually woke up in your house and they was round the bed and they had a couple of goats with them. And they said, right, Eddie, you know, we want you to join the firm.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I was expecting to go, mate. And once this Freemasonry come, because I caught them out. I caught the DI that was investigating. Supposed to have been. I mean, all the hospital records disappeared. The security firm folded up. They couldn't find the 2 people that got shot, and so it went a little bit crazy.
Do you think the Freemasons killed them and they tried to frame you for it?
No, there's something. The Freemasons was just at the investigation part when they was internally investigating.
But the guys the guy that did they ever find the actual shooter that did it? Or after
we
you
all
got
knew who done it.
Right, okay.
You know.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, did the police find out who did it?
Well, it don't matter if they did or not because they can't nick them no more because they've nicked me.
No. But what I meant was after you went through the thing.
Yeah.
I take it. Did they let you come out of jail? Or did you have to go to court?
Well, I had to go to an old style committal.
Right.
But they dropped the charges and didn't let me know about it before they dropped the charges. So I'm coming from the scrubs because I elected to go to court every week because I was innocent, right? And I knew I was innocent. Yeah. My lawyer said, you ain't got to go to court every week. I went, no, f*** it, I want to go to court every single week. Because when I used to go to court, I used to go to court as an ACAT tell. Right. So I'd be armed police in the back of the van with me, cars in front. And I
bet you felt like a member of the royal family. You were like that.
Well, no, I felt mate, you know, but I weren't going to let them get away with not doing that. That egg that causes them that egg every Thursday, you know what I mean? They've got to go through this procedure to get me out of the wing, and they've got to get me down, they've got to get me into a box, they've got to escort me to Tarbridge Magistrates Court. I'll go in Tarbridge Magistrates Court, holding onto the bar, screaming my innocence. They're dragging me out every single week, every week. Because I wanted them to have the egg.
Was it nice to have a day out though as well?
Well, not really,
I didn't know if you had a day out. I didn't know if you got any sort of nice food or if
I'm nicked for fucking armed robbery and attempted murder. There is no nice day out.
But I'm just saying if you get out for the day, I didn't know if they did a little detour by McDonald's or they, you had some nice food.
There's one funny thing that happened. Though. I remember because I was banged up. I was locked up with an old friend of mine from Deptford. Old friend of mine. Again, it's all in the book or whatever. But we used to go to court on a Thursday, and what happens when you go to court? You get booked out of your cell. You get booked out. So every time you go and come, you have to be processed again each time. So the only worry would be that they'd put someone else in the cell. So we used to put it on each other. I used to come out of the cell and say to him, don't let no one sleep in my bed, will you? Keep my bed for me and all that. And he's like, oh, fuck. Because they can put anyone in then, you know what I mean? And then you got to go out, you got to go at it sort of thing. And I remember coming back from court one day, going up to cell, my mate, he ran out to me. I know a really good friend of mine, and he went, it's been murders today. They're trying to stick a little African in the cell in your bed. So my mate said he ain't having it, Right. And he said the last thing he heard, the little fella saying it. He's going, so I am feared for my life here. I have to move this cell.
Right.
So the next Thursday, he's gone to court. Webber, don't let no one sleep in me bed. I went, no, of course I won't. So as soon as he went, I went out to the box, to the screws box, and all that. I said, look, Gov, you know what happened last week with thing. Don't let no one else come into the cell. He went, yeah, no, definitely not. So when he's come back up on the bed like that, he's gone, "Is someone coming just... I went, no, sweet, mate. Sweet. He was gutted that I never went through that act with him, sort of thing.
Do you know what, though? I think if that had been me, I'd have had to play a joke on him and said to the guy, can you get someone in his bed just for a laugh? So when he come in, he'd be like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, you'd have to make one with it. But I didn't want... I'm not like that, Tel. I'm not a violent person at all, sort of thing. I'm quite...
I know, but I would have done it as a joke and then going, I'm only fucking about. When he started fucking going, right.
You'd have to have it with him, you know what I mean? Even if it was a joke or not. Until the point where he says, no, I'm joking. You're like, oh. But, yeah, and then this Freemason stuff started happening and I had to get out of the country, Tel. So I went to Israel.
I didn't know. Did you have any sort of like goats with pentagrams following you around?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean now with the goats sort of thing. Yeah.
I didn't know. Is that a big thing about Freemasonry?
I don't know. It was a bit more subtle than that. I think it was all a paranoid to them, really. I think robbers used to get into, I don't know the politics of it all, but I know it was a nasty sort of craft that was going on there, so especially in the 80s, because you had the SBG, you had all the corrupt Sweeney, you had, stories like George Davis and all these people. There's a million.
So I haven't heard that George Davis story, but what happened to him?
Well, it's not for me to say, but he got fitted up as well for some nasty work. I think there's a little a film coming out about him soon. I think there's a little project happening about him soon, but that's what used to happen in them. But anyway, I ended up in Israel. I got involved in music in Israel because I suppose the next sort of question is sort of how did I get involved in acting, sort
You
of
took
thing.
the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I thought that.
But that was in Israel. You was in Israel.
Well, I was in Israel and I went on to a kibbutz in Israel for the first, because I just wanted to get away from England. I was shitting myself there. I thought they was going to iron me out, old Bill and all that. I thought, I'm gone. And so I went to Israel, went on a kibbutz. After about 5 months, I got kicked off the kibbutz because I slipped into a little Russian mafia unit in the town of Rehovot. And I was going on to the kibbutz, stealing a bit of paths, changing up the money. And I got nicked out there, right? I got nicked out there. And I just
Eddie Webber, Israel's most wanted.
Yeah, what the fuck's happening there? Next thing I know, I'm in a Peter in a local police station with 3 Arabs, like with an hole in the wall for water and a hole in the floor to have a piss in and all that. Another story, a mad story, but it'd go on too long for me to do it. Do the book again. It'd go on too long. So I got out of this little bit of trouble. Knows how I got out of this bit of trouble, mate. It was like, you talk about praying and God and all that. I think I did at times, actually,
right.
look up to the sky and go, here, hold up. This is fucking mad.
At that point, did you start thinking maybe I'll find something else to go into?
Well, no, what happened, I'd always played the guitar. Well, at the age of 16, 15, I learnt myself to play the guitar when I started writing songs. I mean, I couldn't do maths. I couldn't do anything.
I didn't even know you did that, Eddie. I mean, that's remarkable. And that's when you started playing music and singing.
Yeah, and I was in bands all the way through.
Well, did you write your own stuff?
Yeah, I write all my own songs.
What's your greatest hit?
I play the piano. London Town, a little song I wrote called London Town. It was kind of... I've wrote some beautiful songs, really, really good. It was all really sort of socialistically driven.
Right, okay.
Sort of thing, because...
Was it like, the Tories, yeah.
No, it was...
I don't like Margaret Thatcher.
No, it was a nice little reggae one, mate, with some nasty lyrics to it. And because we was listening to reggae at the time.
Oh, reggae. When I got into music in the 80s, I was always into music, but I listened to, like, obviously what my mum and dad listened to, which was like Elvis and Sinatra. But when I actually got into music, the reggae thing, then the rap, then the soul, then, the R&B, all that stuff, and that influenced you when you did your music.
100%. Right. We was into sort of Eek-A-Mouse and Yellow Man, the proper
Eek-A-Mouse, proper, yeah.
Jamaican reggae and Linton Kwesi Johnson and all that, you know.
Did you used to go to the dances as well?
Loads of them, mate. Crystal Palace, all the sun splashes. It was just like...
Yeah.
Then UB40 come out, you know, and we was like, yeah, we've got this.
I got you, babe.
Well, no, before that, you know, when they put their first album out, Signing Off, you know, when they had The Earth Die Screaming and all that sort of tunes on, we thought, oh, wow, man, there's white people doing reggae music here, proper. And that's it. We wanted to all be UB40s, you know, so we started bands up and started doing all that. So I had that knowledge of the guitar. And when I was stuck in Israel, there was a gaff opened in a little village that we lived at. And before that, when I was on a kibbutz, I used to take all the kibbutz people down. I met the geezer who owns the gaff through this Russian mafia thing. And he said, look, I've got this little place. You know the game. Can you get everyone down there from the kibbutz and we'll give you a little bit of money and a bit of this? So I said, yeah, no problem. And then I used to sit on a stage and play the guitar and all that to all the people in Israel.
I bet you were nicking all the birds in as well, Eddie, weren't you?
Oh, mate, it was unbelievable. You know, I mean, it was like you got to remember, Tel, I've come from Bermondsey. I've been nicked for armed robbery, attempted murder. I've come from the most oppressive sort of environment that you can ever dream of. I've arrived in Israel. Soon as I've walked out of the Ben Gurion airport at Israel, everyone's walking about with M16 machine guns and things like that. Oh, what?
Wow.
But then I've ended up on a kibbutz, and the volunteers of the kibbutz, they call them the volunteers, come from every single part of the world. Sweden, Finland, Norway, South Africa, everywhere, France, Germany. So I started mixing with all these different cultures, which I'd never done.
But that was amazing.
I've never done it in my life, you know, the young ladies and all that, all from Sweden, and you're like,
oh, hello,
wow.
Eddie, you're so funny.
Yeah, I used to sit there with a guitar, you know what I mean, going, hey, baby, and they're like, oh, an English rocker. So I started this gaff up in the town, started playing a little bit of a guitar, and a young boy come up to me called Aries. And he went, no, we're looking for a singer of a band. Do you want to join a band? I went, yeah, are we getting money? We get like $100 a week. And out there, you know, that was livable at that age. I mean, you're not, 23, 20, you know, when you don't really give a bollocks about what you're living like.
Just beer money and food, yeah.
Yeah, and I moved in with the Israelis anyway. So I'm in a flat now with 3 Israelis, you know, speaking it Hebrew and just really living it sort of thing. So after about 18 months out there, I thought, fuck it, it's time to come home. So I come home and I formed a band in London. From there, you know, I've come from this real intense musical experience in Israel to London. And I've got 3 pals that play musical instruments. I said, come on, let's get a band up. Show you what I've been doing in the last sort of 18 months. We formed a little band and started gigging around London.
Amazing.
Right? Started gigging around London. But we was gigging in gaffs in Bermondsey.
What was you called? What was your band called?
The Others.
The Others, I like that.
The Others. Just The Others. People just call it The Others.
The Others.
The Others in Israel. Others. Where's The Others? Because we nicked the name in Israel, and I imported the little bass player from Israel to over here. And we had this right-kicking little band, and we wasn't thinking of stardom. Well, I was actually. I thought, no, I can make a living out of this. This is sweet, man.
You were going to be the Bermondsey Beatles, right?
Yeah, the Bermondsey Beatles, the Bermondsey Bum Boys. And it broke up the band. And it was like, oh, mate, what am I going to do now? I know, I'll have a go at acting.
Oh, really?
Right?
So nobody offered you just thought, I'm going to go down that path?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And there was a theatre company in Bermondsey called the London Bubble, really famous theatre company. Used to go out and put tents up. And I found out where the building was, and I went into the building, and there was a geezer there, Adrian Jackson, who's an OBE now, you know, he's done a lot of things for theatre. And I said to him, look, I want to be an actor, mate. You know, he went, well, you've come to the right place. He said, go upstairs, we're workshopping at the moment. see how you feel. So I went upstairs and there was this acting workshop going on and they were really sort of politically correct, this company as well. Right. You know, they were very.
So what was you identifying as something, or did you have to be a tree, or was you a cat?
Identified myself as an aspirin fizzing out or something like. But that was the point. I sat on the sidelines and thought, "No, this ain't for me." I thought it's films.
Right.
I didn't know about theatre and all that sort of thing. So I even put my hand up. So I went, I'm just going to go to the toilet with a full intention of just walking out of the place. This is a legendary story with a director as well now, this is. And I was halfway down the fucking stairs. I was just about to put my hand on the door to go out and never come back. And he come to the top of the stairs. He went to me, "You are coming back, aren't you?" And I went, yeah. So I went into the car, he like moody flushed the toilet and all that. I went upstairs and they pulled a Bertolt Brecht play out, Respectable Wedding. And they said, "Come on, we're going to read this little play." So I sat down in a circle with them, started reading this little play, and they cast me as the father of the bride in a Bertolt Brecht play, you know, and it was fucking amazing. So we started rehearsing it, and then we started performing the play around all these little sort of community centres and all that. So after that play, we used to go every week to the London Bubble and do workshops and learn about theatre, not film, theatre. And then they said, right, now we want to do Macbeth. Right, and they had a really nice little group of people there. And
did you get cast as Macbeth?
I did, yeah.
Did you have to dress up or?
Well, no, we done it in sort of, we done it in a contemporary way.
Right.
So we had our own clothes on and the music that was involved. But the text, we stayed loyal.
So the text was on point, but the rest of it was
to the text.
Modern, right.
So I went up to audition for Banquo. I said to Adrian Jackson, he's this guy, this director called, he's quite a prestigious director now, you know, in the world of continental European theatre and all that. I said, I'd like to read for Banquo. He went, no. He said, "You're playing Macbeth," right? And they started doing posters with Macbeth, BEFF.
I love that.
It was fantastic.
So was you Lord Macbeth, or did they call you Lady Macbeth?
No, not lady. I was.
No, but I didn't know
Macbeth.
because I didn't know if they was trying to sort of make it, you know.
No. But they had this beautiful, beautiful black girl playing Lady Macbeth, you know, and we was in Bermondsey in the 80s and all that. It was a real beautiful decision to make. This little girl who come from Coventry called Pauline. Stunning. Really beautiful, beautiful black girl. And she played Lady Macbeth. But what happened, I've never done any Shakespeare before, you know, ever in my life, done any Shakespeare. And all of a sudden, they've given me a book, and I've got to learn a book of Shakespearean language now, you know.
To be or not to be?
Yeah, that's Hamlet.
The question. But I've looked at Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And all of the dialogue and I mean, it is. I mean, my son did because he also did a lot of Landor stuff.
Yeah.
And he did all the Shakespeare stuff. And I remember him like learning those like monologues and soliloquies.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking hell. And it's so hard because it's so.
Well, it's not hard. There's a knack to it. And once you.
Sometimes it's like a rhythm. Well,
it's pictures.
Right.
It's all pictures. Like, heaven's cherubims, horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow this horrid deed into every eye, that tears will drown the wind. If you broke that down to the picture...
I just need subtitles, Ed.
Yeah. But anyway, I fell in love with the language, I've done this thing.
Because I think it either gets you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And if it got you, so it really grabbed hold of you, you thought,
yeah.
I love this.
I fell in love with the language. I fell in love with it. And we performed this play, and we did a good job of it as well. Wow. So then I thought, right, I want to take this further, but I want to get some proper, like, TV acting sort of thing. So I went to a place called Morley College.
Right.
Jeff Bell was there, you know, Johnny Harris.
All the boys, yeah.
Yeah, in this little place in Kennington. It was a beautiful, beautiful little theatre school. And all the teachers were quite prestigious, famous TV and film actors of the day,
Right, wow.
of the 60s and the 70s, and they were teaching you how to...
But that's who you want to be taught by, right?
Correct. And you had to audition to get in. And at the time, I was getting a pound-note fly pitching, boom, case open, selling dodgy earrings and all that in markets.
What was your pitch?
I had a great pitch. I had a beautiful pitch. But when I went in for the audition...
Come on, give us it, Eddie. Come on, you've teased us now, mate. Give us one of your little things.
Well, I've gone into the audition, and they said, what speech are you going to do? And I went, I've got a speech from A Respectable Wedding by Bertolt Brecht. They said, what do you do for a living? I went, I'm a fly pitcher. And they said, give us your spiel. And I went, stolen property. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 9-carat gold earrings here, £1 a pair. You walk anywhere, you go into any fancy shop, you step onto a lovely fancy carpet, a man comes up to you with nice fancy clothes on. We get our gear the same way as them, except theirs goes in through the front and ours come out of the back. They never fell off the back of a lorry. We bloody well got up and took them ourselves. I've been compared to Robin Hood, except Robin Hood uses an arrow and give his money away, and we use bricks. All that fucking stolen, and people thought they were gold,
Oh, right, amazing.
So I've done that as my audition speech for college.
Brilliant.
And they just went, mate, you're in. They told me there and then, I didn't have to wait for any sort of stuff. But on the audition, this is why I all this stuff when I got nicked for this murder and all this attempted murder, I look back at it as a positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Because it wouldn't have took you to where you are today.
When I met my wife as well, I was at the audition. Before I went in, the door opened and this fucking vision walked through the door. And my wife comes from a very posh background, like her grandfather was a lord and like really her dad's CBE for the Navy and all that. So I would never meet her anywhere else other than in a drama college. Right? So we both got in. So just that alone is worth. I got 2 kids from it, you know what I mean? 2 beautiful kids from being nicked for armed robbery and attempted murder and a police fabric. I'm angry about it, Tel.
Of course.
Right? I'm angry at the Liberty and nothing's happened to her.
If you'd have done it, right, it wouldn't be a problem. But if you're innocent, it's a fucking problem.
Well, the thing is, Tel, if you're a bacon and it's 2024 now, but if you baconed or nonced a kid in the 1970s, they'll go back to the 1970s and they'll nick them for doing it. But you can't do that with the police. I'd like to fucking nick them if they're still alive. I'd like to... That's why I wrote this book, Tel. I just wrote this book because I wanted to get it out here because I was so fucking angry of the people, the people that professed to look after our welfare. Because what someone said to me once, which makes a lot of sense, Tel, that the only 2 things that actually belong to you is your signature and your character and your soul. And no one can take them away from you unless you give them. They took me out of my bed 7 o'clock in the morning, Tel, and threw me into a prison cell, put these outrageous charges on me that looked like I was going to get 23 years and all that if it all come off, and I've done nothing. So what attitude do you have to adopt? You lose faith in humanity immediately, Tel.
Yeah.
You trust no one, ever. Your wife, your kids, you trust no one. You trust your closest people to a point, but there's always that 2%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where someone's done that to you, so you're protected. If anything goes bandy or it's like, yeah, well, I've got that 2% covered. You know what I mean? It's not 100%. It's one of them. And then college, we was working with these people. And one of the teachers, after about 6-7 months, one of the teachers, a beautiful man called Peter Attard, he was in all that To Sir With Love with Sidney Poitier and all that. Where I loved them. I did Brian Croucher, Roy Kendall. Roy Kendall was a writer of classics. Like, he used to write autobiographies on Christopher Marlowe and all that, which is like, So one of the teachers said, look, I want to take you to my agent. I'll take some photos of you and come and see my agent. And he was with a cooperative organisation at the time. Anyway, bosh, I got into the agency. all of a sudden, I met a casting director called Susie Paris. Absolute beautiful, beautiful. Much the same as what Roland said the other day, you know, with you. He's met someone, Gina J, I think it was, he said.
That's right.
It was. And then they champion you.
Right.
So I'm in the days where you're doing the bill 8 times. You're doing Casualty 3 times. You're doing Birds of a Feather. You're doing the what was the one with Jasper Carrott and Robert Powell, the detectives.
Right.
All them sort of things. So
you're on a circuit, yeah.
Yeah. So you're working 3-4 times a year in TV, but this is equity card TV.
Yeah.
You couldn't work unless you had an equity cartel. So I had to then get an equity card, which I stood up in Boozers with an acoustic guitar, doing gigs for no money, just an equity contract. So I could earn this equity contract in. And this is why it's really sad that equity's finished now, because so many people work so hard to get into this union, you know, for it to be totally sort of dissolved now.
Well, when you say dissolved, in what way?
Well, it's got no power, has it? I mean, you're the films that you make, if you want to fuck someone over for their wages, equity can't do nothing about it because you're not signed to an equity contract.
We have done on a few of our films, and I think the only thing that stops independent film producers using equity is because, and you may not know this, but if you do an equity film, it doesn't matter if you've made 100 films or you made 10 films or 1 film, they say that you have to put all the actors' money in escrow, right? You then have to pay the actors.
What is wrong?
No, hang on. Pay the actors and then prove to them you've paid it, then they give you the money back. So that means that if your acting bill was 50 grand or 100 grand, you've got to like literally put that in escrow and then pay the actors and say, like, I paid me, and then they give you back the money.
But that's how it used to be, Tel.
But the problem with that is obviously it fucks up your cash flow if you're running a production, and if you're a studio, you don't care because you know if you're Paramount, you can just go there.
No,
you go.
I understand that.
So that's why a lot of their films now aren't equity because you can't tie up that much money.
I understand, and that's why they've dissolved. Tel, because the majority thing, what happened years ago, you'd have TV, right? You'd have terrestrial channels. You'd have BBC One, BBC Two.
It was only 3, wasn't there? 4.
ITV.
Yeah, then you had 5.
And 4. Right? Channel 4. There was no Sky. So all the programmes on terrestrial TV was directed to the working classes.
Right.
Because they were the ones that watched The Only Fools and Horses, The Birds of a Feather, all the EastEnders, all them sort of programs. The middle classes didn't really sort of have them programmes, you know. You'd have something on BBC Two or something that would be a little bit highbrow or something which they can sink their fangs into, sort of thing. And then Murdoch come along with Sky. So he started doing these Big Brothers where they were reality TV, where you didn't have to have an equity card to work. So everyone's going to Sky now. The working classes are being turned on so much by the Sky stuff that they're coming from terrestrial TV and going to Sky TV. So terrestrial TV have to rethink their schedules now. So all the working class stuff that they're doing is now all being dropped over to Sky, and now they've got to start making things for the crowd that's left to watch the terrestrial TV. 50 million, 10 million people are watching Sky Tel.
Yeah, I think a lot of the television companies and a lot of the studios do like doing the equity stuff though, purely because obviously if you do an equity minimum, it's a lot. It's small money, right? So if you're making a film and you go, well, making this film is equity minimum, you can kind of get away with paying people a little bit of money. Yeah. Same in America, you know, with SAG, you know, you can do a movie. You can say everyone's on the SAG minimum, and you know, I think for a lead role, you can pay someone $65,000, and obviously, if that is your top thing, you can go out to A-list actors if they want to be in a film and say, well, that's what everyone else is getting. And, you know, they can't say, well, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, if they're SAG and they want to do it, they have to adopt that.
Got to give them something to that's the point.
So in a way, it's a good thing. But I mean, the only time I've ever used equity, and they were very good, was when I did some work with an agent, and they tried and knock me for the money. And I rang up Equity and said, these people are fucking me about. You know, they keep saying they're going to pay me the money. They haven't paid me the money. And they went, great. Who is it? This person. Oh, yeah.
But I bet it wasn't an independent film.
No, it was the BBC.
Well, exactly.
But the BBC, right? But it was the agent. It wasn't the BBC.
Okay.
Fucking BBC had paid the agent.
Okay.
The agent was fucking me about.
Okay.
Right? And then I had to, you know, go to Equity.
Well, that's fair enough.
And then Equity went to the agent and said, right, you got to pay. And then surprise, I got paid. So I think if you're an actor, and look, the problem with agencies, unless it's United Agents, independent, you know, the big ones, the smaller ones can go out of business and they can fuck it out. So I think if my advice to any actor is, you know, join Equity. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, just because I think also if you do have a problem, they will get your money back.
Well, they can't tell because about 9 years ago, I was sitting indoors and I come out of Equity, right? Because there was nothing there. But I was doing independent films then, you know. I'd done sort of 4 or 5 independent films that I had back-end deals on. You know you ain't never going to see the back-end deals anyway, but in them days, I thought I'm going to see the back-end deals because the people were good people.
It all depends on the film, and it also depends on the
but when you know a
distribution.
movie's made 15, 16 million pounds, you know there's got to be, and the budget's 2 million.
Yeah.
You know you've got a tenner coming.
Well, something you should get something out of it. But again, what a lot of people don't understand, right, is and this may have happened on Lock, Stock, right? If you look at Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, that film cost $1 million to make.
Yeah.
Right? It did 18 million at the box office. Yeah. It went out in America. It was probably one of the most successful independent films of all time, right? Yeah. But unless you're actually Guy Ritchie or Matthew Vaughn, you don't know what deal they done. And the thing is, if they took money up front, what normally happens when a studio or a platform pays you money up front, they only give you a small bit at the back end.
Yeah.
Which people don't understand, right? They go, oh, the film's made this much money. I should have this much money. But
we know the score, don't we? We know the full strength.
But what I'm saying is, if you're not on the end of that deal and you're an actor and you're going, well, hang on a minute, I'm getting the back end of that, right? But
you're getting points. But you've been told you're getting.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? In business, right? If I say to you, I'm going to give you 10% of what my company makes, and my company makes a fucking pound, you're only getting 10p.
Yeah,
right?
but say your company makes 100 million.
No, but you're relying on the person so this is where people don't understand the business.
Yeah.
Right? You get paid back end. Right?
Okay.
You're relying on the producer or the production company of doing that deal. Now they might need the money, right? So they might say, like, I need the money, right? So they might go, okay, well, we'll give you 300 grand advance, right? So if the film costs $1 million, they're getting 30% of the money back. Yeah. They're going to investors, there's 30% of your money back. So the investor's going, oh, great, we've got 30% of the money back. But they will only be getting 20% of the profits. Okay. Right? But if they didn't take the money, they might get 80%. Yeah. Right? If they're getting 80% of 15 million, it's a little bit different to getting 20% of 15 million. But you as an actor is going, well, I've got 5% of that. So you see the 15 million and you go, well, hang on a minute, it only costs 2. What's happened to the 30 million? So, and unfortunately,
but you need you're entitled 3 or 4 grand out of that sort of profit anyway. You know, well,
it depends on what the deal is. That's the point I'm making. And the issue is, people get these back end deals, and the best back end deal for an actor is to get what's called gross. Okay, not net profits, gross profits, and what that means is, and all their Hollywood actors, all have gross. They don't do net, right? Yeah. And the reason they do gross, and what it means in English, is anything that film takes, if it takes $1 million at the box office, if it sells 1 million DVDs, if it gets £1 million deal with Netflix, if you've got 5% gross, you get 5% of it. You're not waiting for the marketing and marketing expenses. You're not interested about distribution fees. Whatever that generates, you get the money off the table. And obviously, if you can ever go, and this is always what I say to any actors, if you can, or producers or directors or writers, if you can negotiate gross profit participation, you're getting paid.
It's near enough impossible though, Tel.
I know, but you can always ask.
I know, but in independent films, that's not going to happen. I mean, I suppose you're right when you think about people like Chris Hemsworth and Tom Cruise and all these.
They're on gross.
They're getting gross of 500 million, you know.
Well, that's why, you know, you don't see many A-list actors on the breadline.
On the breadline, yeah.
And you know, when you had like all the actors strikes and they're coming out going, you know, I stand with the thing. But the thing is, if you've got 50 million in the bank, you can afford to not work for 6 months. But the actual guys that are on the breadline, obviously for them not to work, I mean, that crippled a lot of actors that I know, a lot of writers I know got, and producers, you know, because obviously if you're putting together a movie and you need one of those names, obviously they're banned. I mean, I remember a friend of mine, I don't know if it was Cannes or the Venice Film Festival, he said, like, there's all these movies premiering, there's no fucking actors promoting it.
Yeah.
So you imagine if you spent 100 million on a movie and you haven't got actors actually walking the fucking red carpet.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you'd be fucking sick, be crying. But going back to your point about equity, I genuinely believe everyone has a choice.
Yeah.
And for you, obviously, it didn't work out, right?
Well, it did until you didn't need equity anymore. You needed it because you couldn't get a job without equity, and you couldn't get an equity card without getting a job. So you was in this catch-22, but you had to get an equity card, and this is what I'm saying: the graft that you had to do.
Because it was free. Was it free jobs you had to do to get your card?
I had to put in 20 different contracts.
Right.
When you leave accredited drama schools, you get an equity number.
Right.
So your first job, you become fully fledged equity.
Right.
So it's like a provisional driving license. You pass your driving test and you've got a driving license. But when you're not in accredited drama schools like myself, like Jeff Bell, like Johnny Harris, all the stuff we had to get our own equity cards.
Wow.
And the thing was, you had to hand in 10, if I remember rightly, 10 past contracts.
Really? As many as that?
10 present contracts, maybe 5. I can't remember. So let's go 5.
It was a lot of work.
5 past, 5 present, 5 future. Right? You've got around these contracts in, so you've got to find a place that's going to start writing you contracts before you've done all the gigs.
Wow.
How I got round it, I used to just go around to Bermondsey. I used to go to 5 or 6 pubs, people I knew in pubs. Said, look, do me a favour, I'll do a gig here. I don't want to charge no money. Just write me a 50 quid equity contract, because that was the minimum that you had to charge, 50 quid. So I'd get all the present ones done. Right? When I applied for equity, I had me 5 past ones done. So now I've got to get the present ones done. Got them doing, because I'm doing gigs at the moment. Slipped into the people that I was doing, can you do me 5 future ones? Done, all done. Ended it in. It was 1989. And there was a geezer at Equity, thought I was getting him at it, thought I was trying one over on him, and he made it so fucking hard for me to get an equity card.
Right.
It was unbelievable. And I only got it because one night I was doing a gig and it was someone's birthday, because they used to flop on you. Right. So you'd give all these contracts in, and they'd flop on you.
Right, make
on
sure.
one of them.
Right.
They didn't tell you. Didn't tell you when they was coming on up, and they'd just flop on you. And I was doing this birthday party one night, playing the guitar up, it was packed, buzzing the gaff. And that's the one they flopped on.
Right, amazing.
So 2 days later, I got my equity card, sort of thing. And it was like Willy Wonka's golden ticket, you know?
I'm going to be a movie star.
Tell Bermondsey, you know what I mean?
Wow.
You've got an equity card. It's unheard of. It's fucking unheard of. Not people like Gary Oldman and all that who grew up at Old Kent Road, but they went to Rose Bruford and all the proper drama school people. It's talking about people that are getting released from jails and released from this, and all of a sudden they've got this equity card in their fucking hand, So when it all went down, it was a sad time for us.
And when you did obviously you did your job in Act a bit, where you did a little episode here, a little episode there.
Yeah.
When would you say was your first big sort of movie role?
Well, I've done a couple of films back in the 90s, like with Hugo Spear and Lisa Stansfield, called Swing, and just like feature film movies. But then I got a promotion company and I started promoting bands. And I had a couple of bands around me that were the sons of famous pop stars.
Wow.
Not following in like original music, you know. Like I was looking after this little band called Glider, who had Ronnie Wood's boy in it, Eric Clapton's nephew in it, Jim Price's son in it. You know, proper stars, and another little band called Double Deepfield that had Roger Waters' son in it out of Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? So we was doing the 100 Club. We was gigging.
Amazing.
All around there, but the trouble is, I started getting into the snip and all that, tell boozing, and you know that life. You're either good at that stuff, or you're not good at it.
Right.
And I wasn't really good at it. You know what I mean? I was, and I got banging trouble with the bits and pieces. And then I got an offer up. Someone offered, said, come out to Spain in Marbella. So I knew a little firm that was living out in Marbella. We've bought a little bar. Come out and run the bar for us.
Right.
It's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, that one, tell. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm getting
What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? People coming in all every night with guns and shit. I
mean, Marbella's a fucking crazy place. It was then as well.
6 years I've done out there in this gaff with them people. You know, a community that I grew up with as well, you know, they were all over there. And I was running a fucking bar. There was times when you'd look around the bar and think, this is not going to turn out good. This is really not going to turn out good. Fuck it, do what you want to do, sort of thing. So then I got involved, I slipped into a little film company out there, and they were shysters. These producers were shysters. They weren't nice people. They were fucking everyone over. But they cast me in a movie called Omar Bayer.
Do you know what I remember? Do you know something? I think that was something I saw. Did it have a big actor in it?
I had Tom Bell,
Tom Bell, that's it. Tom
Rick
Bell.
Mail, Mike Reed, Craig Kelly.
I remember it.
David Gant, Charlotte, really big fucking film. And they said, look, we've got this little section. It was 4 stories that all intersected at the end. It was a Marbella film sort of thing. And my one was getting ripped off by Rick Mail at Timeshare.
Right.
But I knew another actor who they wanted to get involved to play an It Man. Tom Bell was a really good friend of mine. I said, if I phone him up, see if he, you know what it's like.
Right.
Tom, look, want a 3 weeks out in Spain? Yeah, you know, he's come out there. So we've done that movie, and then we've done another movie called Slave, which didn't do that much business because the producers were shysters. They was nicking them. They was all driving about in Jags and everything else, and the investors are like, hold up, you know, I mean, there was tools at their heads and all that at the end of it. So they was taking money off of people they shouldn't have been taking money off of Tell. And then I run into Tama on the beach.
Did he have a mankini on?
Yeah, no, they was out on a recce for the business.
Oh, wicked.
Right?
Because he'd done Football Factory, hadn't he?
Yeah.
With Danny and Nick and Frank.
Yeah, I went, I said, look, I'm going to give you my bits and pieces. Go and give it to this geezer, Nick Love, whoever he is, and I'll tell him I'm one of your own.
Tell him to cast a kid in the movie.
I'll tell him one of your own, you know what I mean? I'm one of your own who lives out here, sort of thing. So Thomas took it. Roland's took up the mantle as well, because Roland was in Omar Bayer.
Right, was he?
He had a great part in Omar Bayer. He had a whole section as well about a goat. They had to go and steal a goat. He was with Lara Belmont, who we spoke about in Warzone the other day, you know. And it was their section, Roland and Lara. It's a great...
Lara was actually in Rise of the Foot Soldier.
Oh, was she?
She was, yeah. She's a great actress.
Yeah.
Great actress.
She was a BAFTA-winning actress, you know. She's lovely girl. So... I don't know where I was. Just Roland
he was saying Roland. Yeah.
Roland started piping me up as well because we've out of Bermondsey, so he's piping to Nick Love. So all of a sudden, Tama's getting him that way, he's getting him that way, Jeff's getting him that way, sort of thing. Who's the this Eddie Webber sort of thing? Come and audition. Went down, auditioned for Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie, the part in the business, tiny, about 4 lines. 4 or 5 lines he had. But as we was progressing in the film, we was talking and saying, look, maybe this character can be doing this sort of thing, you know, and the things that were written in the script, Nick was kind enough to sort of listen to a character. I don't think I'll do that. I think I'll do that. Like there's a scene in The Business where Jeff shoots a kid in a foot. And then, before he shoots the kid in the foot, he orders me to do it. And I take the gun in the script and shoot the geezer in the foot. But the way the character was shaping, I said to Nick, I don't think I would do that to a kid. Do you know what I mean? I think this character, he's got 2 kids of his own sort of thing. He's not like this Sammy. He's not like this snake that Jeff's playing. And Tamer was a little bit sort of at the end of it, his character with Sammy, like older. So we made that decision for me not to shoot a kid, which was the right decision. And I got my own children involved in the film at the airport. And so it became a nice little thing. And I always remember Nick saying, he looked at me at the end of it, he went, you shaped up a lovely little character out of this, didn't you? Oh, right. I went, yeah, I have. And and it's a film that people...
No, look, The Business, I think when you talk about the 2000s, Football Factory, The Business, Rise of the Footsoldier, was Snatch 2000?
I think Gangster #1 and Longer Friday, The Business, they all fall direct line, really.
But Longer Friday was before that. But 70s, I'm just talking about the 2000s.
Yeah.
That sort of decade from, say, 2000 to 2010.
Big, weren't they? Your first one.
The first one was like Snatch, Football Factory. Lock, Stock was in 1998.
Oh, was it?
But I think Snatch was 2001. I might be wrong.
Okay.
Right? But Snatch was definitely in the 2000s. Then it was Football Factory. Then Kid Altered. Then The Business.
Wow.
Then Rise of the Footsoldier.
Kid Altered was before The Business.
2005.
Was it?
2005.
Business was 2005.
So you had all these things, and that for me, that decade was shaped by British crime movies, football movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
100%.
you know, great time, and I remember literally watching Snatch and thinking that was a great movie. Then it was like Football Factory, that's a great movie. Then obviously, but there's all these films coming out.
Then The Firm come out after that as well, which is another little sort of the remake of Alan Clark's Firm.
Was you in that?
I played, Callum's dad in it.
Right, okay, because I remember you in The Business.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the film, and Doug Allen was in that, wasn't he? And
Doug was in that. Yeah, I played the dad. Me and Camille was, Camille Cordura?
Yeah.
We played Callum's mum and dad in it. Fat Bob, I was... And again, that was another a little film before.
Because that was Nick as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was with Nick. And I remember us talking about that, and then specifically about the family that we was, because the original one was based on Gary Oldman's character, and there was another character called Dom in the original one. So what Nick done, he spun it around and based this second one on Dom.
Right,
and his family. Sort of thing. And I remember him saying that he wanted to turn the stereotype upside down and let people know that, football hooliganism, if you can use that word, it wasn't coming from dysfunctional families. Sometimes there was a loving family involved in it, and the kid would get involved in peer pressure. And hopefully the parents are sort of in their head enough to let them go their own way until they realise themselves it's a mistake. Because you can get parents at that junction. I mean, I've done it with my own kids. You come to a point where you think, right, do I be strict with these kids now?
Yeah.
Or do I inform them of their choices and let them go their own way? And hopefully...
I don't go too far.
I mean, that's probably when the prayers, they come back sort of thing, And I've been quite lucky like that, because my kids have done the right moves all the way through it, you know what I mean?
They've got a good father.
They're beautiful. One of them played you when he was younger.
I know.
That
Barney. Was in Origins, wasn't it?
Yeah. Little Barney.
Because, I mean, obviously we'll come on to Origins, but after The Business... what was your next thing after that? Would you say?
It was I'd done a film with Ken Loach.
Right.
called It's a Free World.
That's a brilliant movie. Kirsten Warren was in that. Amazing film.
And we went out to Poland. I mean, I only had a few scenes with him, but that's how
Ken Loach is one of their best directors, you know. So
when I first
don't matter if you got one scene with him, right?
So when I first started, Roland was talking about it. You know, I worked with Alan Bleasdale, Ken Loach, Mike Leigh. You know, all the greatest British directors. You know, and people don't know about that. And you're known for these gangster movies, and you're known for stroke adverts and things like that. You know, but it was.
Is that what you did? Stroke advert?
I've done a stroke advert where so it was everywhere.
Do you know what though, right?
But it got me a fortune.
But it must be fucking annoying when someone comes up to you and goes, mate, I fucking love your work.
Love you in the
stroke. What did you love? The stroke advert.
Yeah.
You're like,
No.
Fuck off, you
all the time, mate. He's brilliant in that stroke advert. I said, I've got 64 IMDb credits, mate. And you're digging me out for a fucking stroke advert sort of thing.
Do you know what? I've got to share a funny story with you, right? So a friend of mine was at one of these like award ceremonies, and he saw George Clooney, right? And he walked up to him and he went, George, he goes, I fucking love your work. You're one of my favourite actors. And George said, oh, thank you so much. You know, what was there anything in particular that you know resonated with you or whatever? And he goes, the fucking espresso have.
Yeah, exactly.
And you saw, he said, George literally looked at him, smiled as if to say, you can, but he took it well. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
But look, Joe, over the period of a few years, I don't like talking about money, but that paid for an house nearly.
But you know that lots
in
of
them days because you got repeat.
Oh, it's proper dough. Like I mean, commercials. Lots of people turn their nose up at commercials, but if you get a good one, it's not necessarily the commercial. It's every time it's showing that you get
10 years that
like
run for. 10 years, and every time it come on, I was getting the fee again.
And I just want to put it out there: if you're doing another stroke advert, I'm available.
Yeah, I'll have a stroke anytime you like. Anytime. But that's what I had to do for the audition. I had to have a stroke. They sat you down in a chair and just said, have a stroke.
Eddie, could you just show us? Just in case
I'm sick of it, mate. Go and watch it. It's just like fucking thing. And it's like dribbling and all that. It's all like Nighty Night. Like that programme, Nighty Night. But I've done the Ken Loach thing, and then I got a phone call from Nick. He said, look, I've wrote this thing. He wrote it with me in mind, which was a pleasure, you know, which was an honour, really, because at that time he was running high, Nick. He could have given it to anyone, you know, absolutely anyone. But I think he liked what I'd done in the business, and Bob in the firm was the same sort of, what's the word? Without the villainy, the same sort of genre as a human, you know what I mean? He was He was the old school one. He was the Eddie Richardson of the Charlie Richardsons. If you look at Tamar and the character I played in the business, you got Charlie Richardson and you got almost like an Eddie Richardson kind of character there. But this was a straight goer, this one, Bob, and it was a bit with Paul Anderson as well. You know, that was his first film.
Were the Richardsons out of Bermondsey?
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, so the Richardson. Charlie and Eddie Richards from Bermondsey. Yeah. There's been some other famous, David Hay was Bermondsey boy, wasn't he?
I don't know who David Hay is.
Boxer.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
And Dave Courtney, he was from Bermondsey.
I don't really know him. I don't really know these people at all, really. I don't know.
I don't know if they were...
I've never heard of them actually coming from Bermondsey, to tell you the truth. But
the thing is, they both said
maybe
they were,
on the peripherals.
But look, they could have been born in Bermondsey. It doesn't necessarily mean that they lived there all their lives. But I know Dave Courtney used to always say he was from Bermondsey. And David Hay was the Bermondsey boy. But again, you know, I don't know if they were born there or if they lived there.
Lloyd Hannigan come from Bermondsey. I know that as a boxer. Remember Lloyd Hannigan?
Yeah, listen, mate, I was a massive boxing fan. And I remember when he fought Don Curry and fucking done him.
Yeah, that was a good fight. My mate knocked him out, though. My mate, David Street, rest his soul. Right. We had a mate with a club foot. And we had a club called the Fisher Club in Bermondsey. And he was walking up the stairs, and that Lloyd Hannigan started taking after Mick out of my mate went back, knocked him spark out there, Lloyd Hunnigan, mate, on the stairs. Just, whoa.
He came to one of our premieres and
Can I drink this?
Yeah, of course you can. Help yourself.
Red Bull.
You can have another one. We've got plenty, mate.
Oh, I'm
Don't worry.
shaking like a leaf, mate.
But no, we had, what was I going to say? He came to one of our film premieres.
Hunnigan.
Hunnigan, yeah. And I didn't really get a particularly great vibe of him. I thought he was just not particularly... And so that doesn't surprise me that he was like that. But I was a massive fan of him, like as a boxer. But when I met him in real life, he was just very sort of like very moody. You know what I mean? He wasn't that happy.
It's a funny game, isn't it, Tel? Because at the moment you've got this little thing going on. I wanted to ask you about this anyway. This Joe Egan and John Fury thing that's going on at the moment. What do you think of all this?
Well, do you know something? I think John Fury's called out quite a few people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's just doing it for like, you know,
Joe's called him out, though.
But I think he's. I don't know if he's doing it as a bit of banter or a bit of a laugh online, or to get more followers or likes or whatever. But I've never met John Fury. I've always thought he's a great character. Never seen him fight, so I don't know what his capabilities are. But I know he's a fighting man.
Yeah.
Someone actually bought me his autobiography for Christmas. I'm reading it.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's a really interesting book. But if you're talking about influencers or actors, I mean, obviously Joe Egan was a professional fighter, but I think these celebrity boxing influencer matches, I think it's good for boxing because I think what it's doing, it's bringing people into the sport that would probably never watch it. So if they get a bug for it, they're going to start watching the real boxers, you know, the pros, you know, that have earned their stripes, and so I think it's good to keep boxing going. But I look at, I think John Fury's like nearly 60, and I think Tyson, not Tyson Fury, Joe Egan's 58.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion is, you know,
Get it on.
58-year-old men getting in the ring punching each other in the head. I don't think so.
I've known Joe for a long time, Joe Egan, you know. And I mean, Tyson's got involved in it now.
Oh,
Mike Tyson,
right.
he's sending videos out now, right? Mike Tyson, I've got one on my phone. It's absolutely funny. Mike Tyson, because Joe sparred with Mike Tyson for 18 months in the Catskills.
Like, yeah.
Right?
I think he was the toughest white man.
White man. He couldn't put Joe down. You know, he put knocked every sparring partner spark out, apart from Joe. So that's why he kept Joe for so long. Now, John Fury's put out a thing that he wanted to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson can't come over here because he's a felon, right? So he's done a video, Mike, saying, John Fury, he says, I hear my friend Joe Egan's looking for you. He said he wants to fight you for my honour and all that. And it's going all crazy. So I just wanted to ask you what you thought about it.
I'll tell you what, I think if they are going to fight, getting Mike Tyson to do that and to get all the hype, and I mean, you know, it means like everyone's going to want to watch it. So
of course.
From a marketing perspective, it's fucking genius.
Genius.
But from a
practical.
I mean, look, I think once you pass,
promote it, wouldn't you tell if it was going to happen?
Of course I would, right? But at 40 years of age, I think that's the age when you want to stop getting punched in the fucking face. Just purely because if you get punched in the fucking face, you know, well, no, it does hurt, but also, you know, it's actually proven that, you know, people get Parkinson's, memory loss, you know, brain issues, and you know, you don't want to fucking get an aneurysm on your fucking brain or a blood clot or anything like that because you're fucking gone. So for me, like when I boxed when I was a kid, you know, you get smacked in the mouth, you get a fucking black eye, you wake up the next day, it goes.
You're gone, you're like
sweet.
an hangover, I suppose.
But now you get smacked. I mean, a friend of mine did a charity boxing thing and he got fucking smacked in the fucking jaw and he like fucking fractured his eye socket. And he wasn't in a bad way, but it took him a while. And he went, you know, I did it because I wanted to have a go. But when you actually get fucking, and you know, listen, if you're welterweight, it's right. But when you got some fucking 17-stone geezer smacking you in the mouth, and Joe Egan and Joe are both big units, right? So, I don't think listen, from a would I watch it fucking all day long?
Yeah.
But if I was on the receiving end, I'd be going, look, mate, I'm fucking too old to get smacked in the mouth.
Okay.
You know, but that's just my opinion.
Interesting.
Would you do it?
What?
Would you have a celebrity boxing match?
No, I can't fucking hold my hands up for 2 pennies, Tell. I couldn't fucking. I'd do what Brian London done with Muhammad Ali, mate.
Right.
As soon as I felt the wind, I'd lay on the floor, mate, walk to the bank and draw some money out. The tap out sort of thing. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't put myself in any position to be punched in the face, Tell, at any given time, at any moment. I mean, I defend what's mine.
Yeah, but you wouldn't actually want to...
I wouldn't stand in front of someone.
So we're not going to see you on Instagram calling people out?
You know, I might do a little fucking game of drafts or something, Tell.
I challenge you, John Fury, to a game of drafts.
That's what I said. I'm sort of capable of extreme cuddling, you know. That's it, really, Tell.
And then obviously... you know, after that movie you did with Nick, what was the next one? Because it was.
I done the most memorable one that I'd done after that was one of the funniest films. He had a lot of bad luck on it though, Ricky Grover. It was called Big Fat Gypsy Gangster.
Do you know what? I remember that.
Oh mate, it was one of the greatest films to be a part of. Jeff, Roland, Ricky, Layla, Omid, Peter Capaldi, Lorraine Stanley, Tracy, Kirkby, Arif. Oh, mate, what about cage fighting small people? Right? Cage fighting little people. Oh, mate. Watch Big Fat Gypsy Gangster. He had a lot of bad luck with it because I think the director sort of messed up a little bit with reaction shots, like the technical side of it all sort of thing. I think they lost a lot of sort of reaction shots and a lot of lack of continuity. Leo Gregory, I mean, it's the one, he played my boyfriend in it, Leo Gregory. You know, we was in a relationship with each other. It was just absolutely... It's a film that God knows how it never sort of went to the higher echelons of comedy. And I don't know if you know Ricky.
I know him, yeah. But I mean, you know, with these films, the problem with all independent films, unless you've got a Universal or Paramount or somebody actually funding it or behind it, you've got to find somebody. And unfortunately, you know...
I think you got in a lot of sausage with that one, you know, right. Money-wise. I think... well, it ain't for me to say, but it was a beautiful, most enjoyable film. Really enjoyable.
Do you know what, though? I think, I mean, because I think the first time we met, was it on Rise of the Footsoldier 3, Pat Tate's story? Was that the first one you was in?
The first time I saw you come in looking like a fucking Michelin man.
Yeah, that was because I had the muscle suit on.
Yeah. I was trying to work out what's
going on
here,
mate. I've been working out.
What's going on? I said to Roland, I went, like that. It was funny. Yeah, I think that was the first one.
That was a good fun, wasn't it? That was a good laugh.
Yeah, that was a nice little thing. That the truth. Maybe I shouldn't. I should. I thought Nick Navan. Nick has done.
We're talking about.
No, I know, but I think his style of directing is far better than the sort of a couple of the earlier ones. You know what I mean?
Do you know something? I think the third one, the Pat Tate story that you're talking about, the one we met on, that was an American director,
correct?
And you know, I don't think he was as hands-on as Nick,
and understood the psychology of it all. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's the same with like Rise of the Footsoldier, Marbella, Julian Gilby and Andy Loveday. You know, I mean, it's sort of like I think with a lot of these films, I think Footsoldier, Marbella was a completely like went off in this like mad sort of comedy thing, and people just went to me. It was like fucking Only Fools and Horses meets Scarface. Yeah. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
and it became like a big lockdown movie.
Yeah.
But I think the Pat Tate story was okay, but I think definitely
took it to another level.
I think after Marbella, and it was really sad because we had a couple of good movies out in 2019. We had Once Upon a Time in London in April, and then we had Footsoldier Marbella in November, and then obviously fucking lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you did in lockdown, but I remember.
I was in India.
Oh, fucking hell.
I was locked down in India.
What was that like?
Oh, it was mad. It was bonkers, mate. Absolutely bonkers. Being Western out in India, obviously they're looking after themselves rather than... Plus they're blaming us for bringing COVID over there, like they blame the West for everything.
What did you do? Did you keep going, it's China? China. No, it's not us, it's China.
Oh, mate. It was a...
That was actually funny, wasn't it? Because it always made me laugh when Trump, every time he went on telly, he'd always go, China. And he just kept saying it.
Yeah.
And it was just, and then you had, I remember there was I think there was a Chinese journalist got up and she said, why do you keep saying it like that, right? He goes, because that's where it come from, China.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And he just didn't give a fuck, did he? He was just literally.
It was a crazy place out there, Tel, because the British government left us stranded out there. The Tories, that Boris Johnson and all that mob.
Your mates?
They were telling the country that they were spending all this money getting people like us home, and they weren't getting us home. So, they was just lying again. Another lie. So I had to wait 3 months to get home. I'd already been out there 4 months. So I've had to wait in a lockdown situation now. Can't eat, can't get food for the first 3 weeks, couldn't get water, couldn't get petrol, couldn't get any food whatsoever. They locked it completely down. We was finding little farms. We had to sneak out because it become a police state. And if they caught you on the road, mate, you're gone. They'd smash the life out of you.
Yeah, I see one of the videos.
They done it to a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine out there. They smashed her to pieces, the old Bill. Smashed her to pieces. So we was, as we do, we get a little bit of devilment in this sort of thing. I used to go out and look for farms. And I used to buy live chickens and bring, because I was living on a community out there, bringing live chickens home and fucking chopping their heads off and just cooking them and doing all that. But that went on for about 3 weeks before it started opening again. And then we had to sort of wait for the government to start laying on aeroplanes to take us home. But not only take us home, but they charge us 3 times the amount of the fare that would cost in normal times anyway. So for a fare that come to 2.5, they'd be charging 8.5 for you to get home, knowing that they've got you by the bollocks.
Yeah. Well, if you don't want to pay it, you can stay in India for another month.
Yes, exactly, mate. That, story I'll tell, a week before it all started happening, this lockdown, 3 weeks before it started happening, a friend of mine, or a friend of ours out there, killed himself on a moped. German guy, tripping on acid, driving in the night, bang, hit a tree and died.
I mean, don't try that at home.
Yeah, don't try that at home. The motorbike rider.
Yeah, and taking acid.
So we had to go to his cremation, right? Now out there's no respect around dead bodies, human bodies. It's all about the inner, the non-physical energy that you are. So they just treat the human body as just, it's finished. It's
rubbish,
over.
throw it in the bin.
So they throw them on a metal crate, they load them up with logs, they throw ghee butter over them and set them alight, and that's it. And that's
they don't
the
eat
funeral.
them as well, do they?
Oh, no.
I'm getting scared then. I thought you said you got barbecuing humans.
No.
I thought
but us in the West, we're standing there looking at fucking geezer burning in the thingy bob. 3 weeks later, COVID's coming. We're looking at the BBC World Service. Don't want to give them a plug on that, but BBC World Service, sort of looking at Italy, everyone dying in Italy, everyone doing it. We don't know anything about this COVID that's going on at all. We've got no news. All we know is Britain's still got rugby matches going, the tube system's happening, Italy's, everyone's dying, all over Europe, everyone's dying. We don't know what the So in our heads, it's like, if we die, that's how we're going to go. We're all going to be ended up on these little metal trays.
Covered in ghee.
No one come and see us or anything. No family can come over. So it got a little bit serious until we found out when all the old bollocks around it all sort of thing. But it did get serious in our head sort of thing. And you got your kids phoning you going, Dad, come on, we don't want you to die out there. And you're just like, what are you talking about? Because they was getting certain information. We was getting other bits of information. That was getting other bits of information. These were getting other bits of information. And it was just fucking up. But that's where I was in lockdown. So I didn't know about any of these films.
But I remember getting a call saying, "Oh, we're thinking of doing the Tony Tucker story," and I was like, "Wow!" And Nick's going to direct and blah blah blah, and we're going to write the script. And I was like, "Sweet." So I remember getting the script, and I don't know if you run me or whether Andy run me and said, "Oh, Eddie's boy's going to play."
I spoke to Andy because my boy, that's it, the lockdown. My boy finished drama school. He done 4 years at East 15 drama school, right in the middle of lockdown. No end of term productions, he just paid 30 bags for his training. Agents can't come and see him. And I remember giving Andrew an email saying, mate, if there's any room for my boy in this film, I'd be really appreciated if you can give him beautiful people, yourselves and Andrew, gave him that little opportunity. He said, oh, yeah, actually, he can play the young Tucker.
But they needed somebody charismatic and good looking to play me as a...
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I was too old.
but he was great in it. He was great.
Well, we done what needed to be done on it, really. But the thing is as well, because he said to me, but as it happens, we've got... Remember your character that you played in... What one was it? The one where I saw you in the muscle suit?
That was just, same one, Tony Tucker, yeah.
No, it was one before that. I played this character, this Lewis Hexor, winner.
That was in Footsoldier, yeah. I played Tony Tucker. So I played Tony Tucker, and that was the third one, the Pat Tate story.
Pat Tate story. He said that character, we want him to come back in this one, but we don't want him to have anything in the film. We want to put him after the credits to try and tie it all up with Billy, just that little thing. He said, would you come and do it? I went, yeah, love, perfect. He's give Barney a little shout in the film, and that's what it's about, really, isn't it?
And we had a great premiere, didn't we, Leicester Square? And,
yeah.
No, it was good. I mean,
I was throwing Barney forward.
Get on the red carpet, son.
Get hold of Terry and stand with him and say you played him as a younger.
But it was good though, wasn't it? I mean, we had a good night, and
it was a good night, mate.
That was that Barney's first ever role then?
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it was his first ever role. He's had a couple since. It's a bit slow at the moment because he needs to get agent wise. He needs a little bit. But as he come out of that lockdown in drama school, he just had to grab what he could grab to save being left behind, you know what I mean? There was a lot of good-looking young kids that got the Curtis Browns and all that, but who ain't done a day's work since, you know what I mean? Barney's had some ads, he's had a couple of movies, he's doing this and doing that. So, fingers crossed and touch wood, people like yourself that do films, keep them in mind, really.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. I mean, as I said, I thought he'd done a good job in Origins, and, he did well. And obviously, fast forward to sort of today, and what you got.
I've just finished such a beautiful film.
Because this was in India, right? You was in there for 7 months, weren't you?
No, I was there for 6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
And there was a little movie going on over there, and I couldn't wait about no more. I had to come home. But what I've recently been doing, I've just done this beautiful, beautiful movie directed by David Leon. Right, and it's based on the writings from Charlie Palmer Rothwell. You know Charlie?
I know the name.
Charlie Palmer. It's Patsy Palmer's boy.
Right. Okay.
He's starting to get up a little bit now. He's really creative, artistic piece of work. This is beautiful. This is, you'd rather do this than anything. You'd rather do this than being a main lead in a
Marvel movie in spandex.
No, not so much that. But, the sort of films that we do, sort of thing, as being actors on the peripheral, because that's what we are, really. We're just actors on the peripheral of, it's nice to be working.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing special about it at all. We're just working actors, sort of thing. And to be involved, because we done a film with David a few years back. Myself, Callum, Jeff Bell and Eddie Marzan. Beautiful film called Man and Boy. Really beautiful. Only a 4-hander, but really, really beautiful little film. So Jeff was supposed to do this, but Jeff's involved with this new Nick Love film, and Jeff's got a big gig that I can't really talk about that's happening next month. But this was a really intense piece of work. I mean, it wasn't one of them pieces of work that you can just look at it and go and do it. There's a lot of working out to do with it, you know. It was very intense in it, and you had to do a good job because it was about the persons who wrote it. It was about his father. So you had to do it properly, sort of thing, without it being slapdash, without it. And it was a very sort of Lewis Carroll-y, sort of Jabberwocky kind of script, which you didn't really know what it was about, you know what I mean? But you had to find out what it was about. It's a performance sort of thing. And that was beautiful. But now, I sort of find myself, because I've got the book out, and I've always been writing anyway, even when I was younger, when I was telling you about the guitar, writing songs and all that. So I've started writing these little pieces, these little movies. I've got one which, touch wood, we're having meetings at the moment that looks like being shot early spring.
Amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful film. I've got another one, which I told you, a little Western series that's doing the rounds in the streaming platforms. As you spoke about these actor strikes and all that in America.
Delayed it all last year.
I think there's a backlog. So, but I've been told that people are interested in it. I've got another little film that I wrote 8 years ago. And someone really important, it arrived on their desk, right? 9 years ago, this tell. I forgot about the film. Absolutely forgot about the film. And it's about a real life person. And it's arrived on someone's desk, a really, really, really well-known, big-time thing. And because there was a name on the front of the script, he read it, where he'd usually go, you know. And he's come back with, we want to do this. We want to do this, but it needs a rewrite. So I've just been busy rewriting this little script. Yeah, and I think it's turning into writing now.
Amazing.
So, but it's nice because every script you can write yourself into.
Right.
As a little character now, because you're the writer. You know, you can have that favour.
And also, I think as well, if you're writing it, like you said, you've got a great body of work. It's a lot easier to, if they're going to do your film, you know, for them to say, "Oh, Eddie, you got to be in it," and go, "Well, funny you should say that."
Well, no, yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be, you know, if these films are gonna get done. It's not one of them. I'm happy as being a writer, and if they don't want me to be in the film, but I'll insist that Barney's definitely in the films. You know what I mean? Because I'm writing little characters for Barney, and that's all I worry about. I'm not worried about whether, to tell the truth, I'm not really fond of acting. I'm not really fond of it. It's you know. If you haven't reached the pinnacle of where you want to get to at some point, what's the point? It's a beautiful little thing. You can go work, you can outlet your creative juices, but the thought of making a living of acting is far gone away from me now. You know what I mean? It's unless you jump into EastEnders or you jump into something that they're going to give you a sort of whatever they're going to pay you for. It's a pipe dream to us British. Acting. There's not a lot of people that, it's like Roland said the other day, you know, on your thing, it's 95% of actors in Britain are out of work. You know, 4% of actors are working and 1% of actors are stars.
Right, wow.
That's the...
So, you know, when it's like, I suppose, yeah, I mean, if you look at those things, there's a 99% chance you won't make it.
Oh, I think so.
As a star. And then you go, now that's, the odds are obviously stacked against you. But
I think so.
I've the same view on it as you, and that's obviously why I'm doing a podcast because obviously we've got a lot of content that we've created that obviously want to share with the world. And also, obviously, we're making movies, and then occasionally, like you, we do a bit of acting. But for me, like every day, I've got something to do. I don't wake up in the morning and go, "When's the phone going to ring?"
Yes,
you know what I mean. And I think
Correct.
that's the worst thing that can happen to anybody in any walk of life. And when I went into acting, I thought, wow, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. But then when you actually get into it, you go, okay, so you get a job, and then you don't work for 6 months, and then you're in a film like Rise of the Footsoldier original. Rise of the Footsoldier original. That's my third movie, and if you look at you, like when you're doing something, and then you go, wow, fucking hell, the business has come out, massive success, and then you don't get a phone call for 6 months, and you sort of go, that doesn't make any sense.
It don't make no sense.
But I think if you was in America doing that, I think it's a different ballgame, right?
Probably.
And that's why a lot of people go to America. But then everyone I know that's been to America has said, go to fucking LA or New York, and 95% of all the people working in the fucking bars and restaurants and hotels are fucking actors that are waiting for the phone to ring or doing auditions. So,
I think if you're like say Brian Cox or someone like that who go over there and do all these big Netflix and Sky series and then because I think they do like British actors, because British actors, what I can gather, when they do American accents, are fantastic. But Americans can't come over here and do our accents because I've never heard one do one properly. Have you really, Tel?
I think there's a couple that are unbelievable. I think Brad Pitt, when he did the Traveller in, and he worked with the Frankums on that. So I mean that was authentic. I think Bradley Cooper's, I think the greats, right?
That's what I'm saying. The 1%.
But I think if you look at a lot of people that do it, like there's a couple of things where you've had Australians trying to play Cockneys or America, and you go, no.
Have you watched The Boys?
No.
Have you never seen The Boys? Oh, you've got to watch The Boys. You've got to watch this adult sort of superhero series. It's absolutely phenomenal, and there's an Australian actor playing a Cockney in it. And at first it's like, oh, fuck, this is really uncomfortable watching it. But then you get it. Oh, Tel, watch The Boys.
I'll watch it. I'm on it. The Boys.
The Boys.
And it's on
Amazon.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
It is just it's almost it's taking the piss out of superheroes.
Right, okay, brilliant.
On the outside they're good, but in reality they're all scumbags, you know what I mean? And they've used their powers in all different manipulative ways, Brilliant. Really good series.
And I've got a question to ask you. What's your favourite swear word?
Favourite swear word? Oh, shitbag.
I haven't heard that phrase. I've heard shit bag. Not shit bag. Shit bag.
Shit bag. I think it really says it all, doesn't it?
That.
You shit bag. You dirty, horrible shit bag.
But Eddie, I've really enjoyed having you on. It's been a good crack talking to you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, hearing about your life and about your story, and obviously how you grew up and you kind of fell into that sort of crime wave life, but then obviously found music, found acting, and obviously I wish you all the best with
thank you.
with your writing your scripts, and I hope they all get made. And obviously I'm excited for your boy as well. I hope he follows in your footsteps and makes you proud.
Well, I hope he don't, really, because he's going to be skint for the rest of his life, to tell you the truth.
Have you told him that?
Yeah, all the time.
But he might be lucky, though.
If it's all right, Tel, I'd like to let people know that they can get my book on my Instagram and Facebook bio.
Why don't you let people know how they can find you on Instagram?
Yeah, you can find it. I Diddle DD on Instagram bio and a Facebook bio, and it's getting some nice little reviews. So,
and if people want to follow you or contact you,
Eddie.Webber.
Right, on
Instagram.
Amazing.
Eddie.Webber. That's it. That'd be perfect.
Eddie, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
really
Tel.
good to.
Oh, look at that, mate. That's my charisma, Tel.
That's the first time that's happened on the Criminal Connection podcast. Hopefully it'll be the last. Nothing bad happened other than the glass got broken. Thanks for tuning into the Criminal Connection podcast. Eddie Webber, what a legend. From Bermondsey on the wrong side to the theatrical TV and film world on the right side. Amazing guest. Make sure you have a look for his book. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. And thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tell all your friends about the Criminal Connection podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like the pictures, or we're going to send the boys round. We'll have another great guest next week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the other side.